Hi guys, so we are coming up to a very exciting day of the year, especially for those of you in the south of the US, and that's Kentucky Derby Day. So I actually haven't made a mint julep yet, which is entirely remiss of me, and a few of you have been asking for it. So I thought it was about time I got into that. Now the name julep comes actually from a Middle Eastern word, an Arab word, which is gulab, so sort of like more of a rose water elixir that was used sort of medicinally and over time changed into, I guess, sort of a structure that we know today of essentially like your mint and your sugar and some booze in there, and started to be drank recreationally as well as for medicinal purposes in the end. It would originally have been more often made with brandy or rum, and then as the rising cost of those sort of made them die out in the States and bourbon became more and more popular, it started to be made with bourbon and is now obviously very synonymous with Kentucky in particular because of the horse racing. Now, because it was such a popular drink right back when the first Derby took place in 1875, it would have been drank there, but then obviously Prohibition in the middle and everything, it didn't end up becoming the official drink of the Derby until the 1930s. But it has gone from strength to strength there, and the estimates are there are around 120,000 mint juleps made at Derby Day every single year, which is a pretty crazy amount. So whether or not you're going to be going, whether you're watching the horse racing or not, let's get into this very refreshing little bourbon drink. So to start off, you want around 5 mint leaves or so, just in the bottom of your little cup there. This was originally a morning drink, and the idea was the mint would sort of stimulate you and get you woken up in the morning. And then we go 15 mils of sugar and just give that a very gentle press. You don't want to bruise the mint, you're just sort of releasing some flavor in there. Now, of course, there's a lot of flavored juleps as well, so like peach juleps and so on. So if you have any nice seasonal fruit kicking around, then definitely pop that in there too, but we're just keeping it classic here today. Then 60 mils of a good Kentucky bourbon, and that's really it for a classic julep recipe. That being said, I am going to use a little bit of bitters, but on the top just to help kind of lift the fragrance there as you lift it up to your nose. But for now, you can just get your crushed ice in. I'm lucky enough to have an ice crusher. If you don't, then just wrap your ice in a tea towel and give it a good bash with a mallet, a rolling pin, a heavy muddler, whatever you have to hand. So you want to do sort of a first round of ice and fill it pretty full, but not sort of towering yet, so you have a bit of space to give it a churn through. The rise of the julep sort of coincided with the rise of just ice in general in cocktails, so this would have been quite decadent to use heaps of sort of chipped ice for refreshment. And then we can top it up with more ice so it gets that lovely little icy mound. Delicious. I do like to keep this one a little bit on the sweeter side, just because obviously as it dilutes, it's going to get a bit less sweet. So just sort of, yeah, like if it starts off very slightly sweet to begin with, then that's usually good to keep you going the whole drink through. And then I add a couple of little dashes of bitters on the top. I'm using fig and cinnamon just to play into that like slightly fruity note, but obviously just Angostura or whatever you have works too. And then a couple of nice big mint sprigs. Give that a little smack on the back of your hand to release the oils. And that can go right in the side here. And then of course our all-important straw, because you can't really drink through the crushed ice otherwise. And then I always like to serve it with a little napkin too, because otherwise your fingers get a bit chilly holding it. So then you can lift it up like this. I mean, it certainly packs a punch. I have a lot of respect for the people that drank this first thing in the morning. But yeah, super refreshing, super bourbony, so really forefronts that lovely whiskey flavor there. Nice and minty and fresh. Perfect summer drink, the mint julep. So now you know.